Hello, welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Hannah Smith, the Director of Strategic Account Development, and I'm joined today by Rick Tillemans, Senior Director of Business Strategy. Rick and I work as part of Wiley's Partner Solutions Division, and we're excited to talk to you today about our vision for co-creating the future of publishing and navigating the disruption and change in the market together. We're planning to talk for about 30 minutes with plenty of time for questions. So without further ado, I'll hand over to you, Rick, to get us started.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone, and great to have you. Thank you for dialing in. As Hannah was saying, we have the privilege of reporting out on some of the many interviews that we've done with you, many of you, over the last year or so, to talk about the developments in scholarly publishing. And as we all know, the scholarly communications landscape is subject to change, and for good reason. The need for scientific advancement is in some cases hindered by some of the bottlenecks in scholarly communications. And we spent a lot of time talking to the industry to understand what those pain points are. And in this webinar, we'll explain to you that we, Partner Solutions, believe that a lot of these pain points can be unblocked through collaboration in the industry, through technology, and through focus on quality and integrity. And where it starts for us is with a focus on the researcher. And we think that unblocking the way for researchers to achieve their full potential is the way forward to driving change for the entire scholarly communications industry. And in order to better understand how our partners can deliver better experience for the researchers, we've done more than 150 interviews. And we've also done very deep analysis on the needs of the researchers. And first, I'd like to start with defining what we mean when we say partners, because that will set a lot of context for this webinar today, and what the focus of this webinar will be. So within Partner Solutions, we look at our partners in 4 groups: the publishers and societies, consortia, libraries, funders, and corporates. And we believe that the collaboration between these partners of the industry will collectively help to unblock, to free the way for the researchers. And we define researchers broadly because depending on your organization, you will define researchers differently. So at the highest level, I will go through the themes that we heard from each of the partners. But for this webinar, we will focus on the publisher and society group. And we can do follow-up webinars on some of the learnings from the other groups, but we have a lot of people registering today from the publisher and society group. So we're doing a deep dive. We're doing a deep dive on those today. So firstly, at the highest level, what we heard from the publishers and societies was pain points around protecting, growing, and diversifying revenue in the transition to open science, while driving efficiency and a better experience for researchers. I'll unpack that in a lot more detail. On the consortia and library front, we heard a lot about enhancing efficiency while building the public profile of the institution or of the consortia, while implementing new processes to support open science. From funders, we heard a lot about their need to fund high-impact research and selecting high-impact research to fund and demonstrating the societal impact that that research has while driving the open mandate. Our 4th group is the corporates. And for them, this is about building trust and awareness among key audiences and attracting top talent. And this is with a heavy focus on the kind of science-intensive corporates out there. And like I said, I'll focus on the publisher and society segment and start to unpack that in more detail. And first, I'll start with an overview of the high-level pain points that we heard. Then I'll dive a little bit more into detail on the operational bottlenecks that we're experiencing. We know there's a lot of people on this webinar that spend a lot of time in operations of publishing. So we want to play back to you what we've heard on the operational bottlenecks. Then I will move towards a description of what we heard from the executives of a lot of the societies and publishers, what their priorities are. To then my section, I will wrap up with an overview of what kind of solutions the industry thinks should be available before handing over to Hannah to talk to you about what partner solutions can contribute here. And all of this valuable feedback that we've gathered from you, we have taken very systematically to shape partner solutions. And we've launched partner solutions, and I know that many of you have probably heard about that over the last several months. So this webinar is called Co-Creating, and we take that very seriously because all of the roadmaps, our strategy is based on the feedback that we got from the industry, and it doesn't end there. We want to continue to have the conversation with you, to hear from you about your pain points, your future directions, so we can co-create the future of scholarly communications together. So then, turning to the publisher and society pain points. While these are in no particular order, it's no coincidence that revenue sustainability and expansion is at the top. Some of the other bullet points on this page, they all contribute to that pain point, and they contribute to one another. But in this round of interviews, we heard a lot about the need to protect existing revenues as the world is shifting from subscriptions to article economy for some parts of the industry, and also revenue expansion. So this is about how do you drive more revenue from publishing, from other revenue streams, including member revenue in your organization. And 3 years ago, when I did a similar exercise for the first time, I heard a lot about efficiency. I heard a lot about cost savings. And while that is still very much top of mind, and many of our partners have a lot of initiatives in that space every day, it has become BAU. And right now, we heard a lot about the need to protect and grow revenues. With respect to the second bullet point, the legacy systems and non-standard workflows, as I said, a lot of this used to be in the context of efficiency, margin protection. But actually, we heard this a lot in the context of growth. How do you modernize? How do you transform your infrastructure to clear the way, to clear the path for growth, and to deliver a better experience to your audiences? The third, around protecting and developing the brand and impact of your organization, has two main components to it. The first one is around quality. It's on ensuring the integrity of the research. Extremely important, and that continues to be a big bottleneck as volume of submissions grows. The second part is there are some geographic differences here. We interviewed partners all over the world, and when we interviewed partners in China, we heard a lot from Chinese partners about wanting to build the global presence, the global impact that publishers have. So there's two elements to the brand and impact component that the publishers and societies have told us. The fourth is around the open science strategy and infrastructure. While the open science and specifically open access publishing was often mentioned as a top of mind consideration, it wasn't always a top initiative yet. And that had often to do with a lack of bandwidth, sometimes expertise in the organizations to have an adequate strategy, an adequate response or proactive response to open access, to understand what that means for their organization. And by extension, the infrastructure elements, what do I need to have in place, was a pain point that was raised often. And in cases where we spoke to partners that were already a little further along on the journey towards open, the infrastructural questions were more specific around things like, How do I ensure adequate author marketing? How do I manage transformational agreements? What does my reporting need to look like? What do I need to do to deliver a better experience to the researchers? How do I deal with APC payments? So that was a little further along on the journey, but it was certainly a topic of great discussion. And we know, and Hannah will talk to this, we know that open access is not for everyone. Not everyone will adopt it, but it was a topic discussed for the majority of our partners. Then the evolving needs of institutions and researchers, which is linked to some of the themes that I've talked about before, in terms of transformation, in terms of the move towards open science, but also just the need for more efficiency. Like, as there is a need for efficiency in institutions, as I was saying before, that has implications on how institutions would like to work with publishers, and also how institutions can drive bigger impact and demonstrate the impact that they're making. Then I'll focus a little bit on the final bullet point on this page, which is around enhancing publishing outputs and readership. And it's very well documented in our community that the flat PDF has limitations as a vehicle to share scientific knowledge. And what we're seeing is that many of the publishers that we've spoken to are taking steps to move towards a richer artifact, but also to find ways that you can deliver a more impactful experience for the readership, and also in order to derive more value out of the readership. And when I talk about the diversification of revenue, the growth of revenue, this is also recognized as an area of potential. How do you deliver better experience to your readers and a more impactful experience to the readers? So as I said, I would talk a little bit about the operational elements. And this is the journal publishing workflow in a very simplified way. And what we asked publishing directors and executives to describe: where in your workflow do you see bottlenecks today? Where in your workflow do you see bottlenecks arise over the future? And the color coding on this page is an indication of how often it was mentioned, but also the urgency to resolve these issues. Now, I won't step through every chevron on this page individually, but from looking at it, hopefully it becomes clear that a lot of the serious pain points and the urgent pain points were raised around the submission and the review stages of the workflow. And this is also in the context of the transition to open access, but specifically around the submission and review stages of the workflow. These were specifically raised because for the publishers, this is top of the funnel, and the problems that arise in that space have flow-on effect throughout the rest of this workflow. So problems around standardized data, capturing the metadata, are very well understood in the industry as issues that need to be resolved, but that block growth. And problems around capturing the data around submission stage has implications on, for example, doing payments adequately. With respect to review and peer review, this is where the conversations became most energetic. This is an area that, again, widely understood in the industry as an area of bottlenecks around selecting reviewers, around creating transparency for the researchers, as well as for the publisher and the reviewers, avoiding bias, reducing workload on the community for peer review, an area where there's a lot of potential for improvement. So I will now talk about how does this translate into the priorities for the executives. And we identified 4 key priorities. And the first one around diversify, grow, and protect revenues. I've talked about that. I've talked about that a lot. Secondly, the modernizing and future-proofing the organization. Thirdly, driving scale to growth while ensuring quality and integrity of the output. And 4, delivering a superior member experience. One of the pain points that I showed on the previous pages were around ensuring the value that is being delivered to the members. And that continues to be top of mind. And that is the other side of the organization, oftentimes for societies. And in many cases, there's potential now to deliver better experience with bringing publishing and member experience closer together. So that continues to be a very important area. So then, before I hand over to Hannah, we asked the respondents, when you think about the solutions to these problems, what needs to be true at a high level, not specifically on this page, what does the solution need to look like? Although we've got a lot of feedback on specific solutions, and our roadmaps are tailored to solve those issues exactly. There were 4 key themes that come up. The first one is that enhancing research outcomes is core, and that applies to all the 4 partner groups that I started this presentation. Then secondly, technology is key to delivering higher impact while taking cost out of the system. So how can you grow, deliver more value, and take cost out of the system? And technology has an important role to play there. And we talked a lot about the workflows, as I showed on the previous page. And one of the core findings for us was that as our partners think about the solutions, there's a preference for integrating components into their workflow and ensure their seamless flow of data in a structured way throughout the workflow over an end-to-end / out-of-the-box solution. Oftentimes, this has to do with workflows that have been carefully crafted, carefully customized over the course of many years, and a fear of high switching costs, a fear of throwing the baby out with the bathwater. And therefore, if there are components to be integrated in the workflows that ensure consistent flow of data and growth, that would be the preference. Secondly, AI talked about a lot. In many cases, this was on the agenda for publishers to be adopted in the next 3 years. In many cases, there were initiatives, but not in a very mature state yet for many of our partners that we spoke to. But it's often seen as a technology that can help to grow while ensure things like quality and efficiency and data capture. Thirdly, access to expertise and human capacity is a must. It's not all about technology, came through loud and clear. Expertise and bandwidth are required to scale, explore new opportunities, and also to keep the lights on in the organization. So in many cases, there is conflict between the resource availability, like there's conflicting priorities in the organization. So therefore, having the access to the expertise and the bandwidth to actually think about the next stage for organization was a critical must. And finally, that as the partners think about where to source solutions, that it was a resounding preference to outsource and to work with third parties, on integrating some of the solutions, the tested solutions in the industry into their operations, and avoid reinventing the wheel, and also to ensure that there's speed of decision making. So I'll stop there. Hannah can talk a bit about how this translates into partner solutions. So Hannah, over to you.
Great, thanks, Rick. So it's against the backdrop that Rick has laid out that we launched Partner Solutions in October of last year, and we'll talk about that in more detail. So Rick, why don't you go to the next slide? But before we jump, back one actually. There we go. Before we jump into the strategic vision, let's take a step back and talk about partnership. Partnership has always been core to what Wiley does. Wiley is the world's largest society publisher, In our research publishing division, we work with over 800 societies and associations, providing full-scale support from submission to publication to sales and distribution. That's not going away. Wiley Partner Solutions sits separately alongside our publishing group. In addition to the market research that Rick just walked you through, we've learned a lot from decades of working with societies and associations. It's clear that a full-scale publishing partnership works for some, but not all, and may not address the full scope of the organization's challenges or opportunities. With Partner Solutions, we significantly expand the ways in which we can serve partners and address their pain points. And going back to what Rick said about what we mean by partners, our expanded capabilities mean that we can provide solutions for a much broader group of stakeholders in the industry. Our view of partnership and serving the industry is also heavily shaped by the companies that have become part of Partner Solutions. Adipon, EJP, Inera, J&J Editorial, Magex. It's no mistake that we've brought together customer-centric organizations with proven track records of serving their communities. With Partner Solutions, we brought together what we view as the best technology, services, and solutions available, and we're investing in transforming them for the future. So this started in earnest with our acquisition of Adipon about 6 years ago. The Literatum publishing platform is truly the best in class with the most advanced capabilities and highest level of service. It's unrivaled. We wanted Wiley Online Library on Literatum because it meant less development cost and time for Wiley, no site downtime. It took care of the plumbing so that we could work with Adipon's strategic leadership to develop new capabilities to improve things like audience reach and user experience. So we acquired Adipon, and from there, it was clear that Adipon's customer base was experiencing the same benefits. There was and continues to be a firewall between our publishing business and what is now Partner Solutions and what was then simply Adipon. And we were able to serve both customers, Wiley Publishing and the wider industry. And our vision grew from there. With J&J Editorial, we have the best editorial, production, system support in the business. And we know that in part because J&J Editorial had been supporting Wiley Publishing for many years before the acquisition. We knew we needed this level of support capabilities and people within our portfolio to truly service the market. The same is true for eJournal Press, Inera, and Magex. When we paired these expanded capabilities with our corporate solutions team and in-house technologies like rec submission, we began to build a modular, interoperable suite of technology and service solutions that truly serve the needs of our current and future partners. And so, Wiley Partner Solutions was born. Rick, you can go to the next slide. On the whole, our approach is centered on helping our partners to future-proof and ensure long-term success and sustainability. So our solutions combine services, people, expertise, and reach in the market with intelligent, interoperable technology. And that goes back to something Rick just said about the importance of both technology and people, and that interplay is really, really critical. So let's talk specifically about our capabilities and how we apply these to our customers' top priorities. As Rick said, revenue growth and diversification is the top priority for societies and publishers. Whether or not your organization is explicitly participating in open access, the general market shift is constraining publication revenue growth. That means organizations need to look to maximize OA revenue if they can and diversify revenues overall. So to help customers grow in OA, we provide consulting support in developing strategic open access plans tailored to the individual organization with recommendations to implement and maximize transitional agreements while protecting and growing adjacent revenues. Through OAble, we enable institutions with tools to efficiently manage and make informed OA agreements, and then publishers who integrate with OAble become part of a one workflow, one dashboard solution, which improves their offerings to their institutional customers. On the corporate side, we have audience solutions which connect societies with industry and enable them to diversify their revenue outside of membership dues and publications. This might mean a knowledge hub on a key clinical topic, an expansion of your organization's commercial meeting strategy, or support in rights and licensing to a global audience. That's just to name a few of the ways in which we help our partners in this area. And our career centers, paired with recruitment sales support, can maximize your valued early career researchers and grow revenue from employers. Moving to author satisfaction, really author satisfaction and output growth go hand in hand, and our solutions are designed to delight authors and drive efficient workflows to publish better. We help our customers audit their current systems and optimize their workflows. And AI and machine learning offer exciting new possibilities, but again, we know that people are a huge component of serving authors, and we provide expert editorial staff, production, and system support through J&J Editorial. Looking at our technology solutions, they're designed, as Rick said, to be in line with the feedback from the market, to be modular and interoperable, with a focus on the seamless integration both with one another and with legacy systems. We know that there are legacy systems that work really well, that organizations have really invested in, and we want our solutions to work alongside those and make those systems work even better. And the system support I mentioned a moment ago makes it significantly easier to make an infrastructure change. So as an example, Rec Submission is an intelligent, centralized submission platform which plugs into legacy submission systems, such as ScholarOne, to significantly improve the author experience while harmonizing the editorial operations and the data across a portfolio of journals. We also have a suite of highly configurable workflow systems with eJournal Press, from submission to production to billing and managing complex OA agreements and transitional agreements. And then Inera's technology provides editorial and XML solutions which drive multi-format publishing. On the platform side, I've touched on Literatum, which is the leading platform in the market for every type of publisher and content. And then tying all of these together, we've developed an identity management service, Connect, which creates an interconnected and more productive ecosystem. And we also have an analytics product, Insight, which enables publishers to analyze platform and user data and generate reports for decision-making. And lastly, Rich touched on outsourcing as a key opportunity for publishers. And I know outsourcing means different things to different people. What we heard is really about intentional use of resources. We help our partners to determine what they want to focus on in-house and where we can provide services to help them to drive their objectives. That could be J&J Editorial, it could be a dedicated team to drive their Literatum roadmap, or it could be full support with advertising sales. We have lots of models and we're working with customers to determine what works best for them. So Rick, you can go to the next slide. That was a whistle-stop tour and there's more to say, but we want to end here back on that topic of partnership. This is really who we are. We're about building long-term relationships with our customers, which drive their objectives and missions. Wiley Partner Solutions might be new, but this approach to partnership is not. It's the way Adipon continually innovates and delivers to customers. It's the way J&J Editorial embeds with Society Journal staff and becomes an extension of their team. It's the way Magix curates their recruitment strategies to grow in new markets. And it's the way Wiley has always worked. So as we look ahead, we really want to innovate together. We welcome our customers in on new ideas and early development. We've launched a dedicated innovation team to explore new areas of opportunity with our customers and help solve industry-wide problems. And we're solution-oriented. We want to know about what challenges our customers face and their pain points and work with you to find the right solutions. We help to support strategy and bring our customers valuable market insights and thought leadership. And ultimately, we really want to make it easy for our customers. Our products and services are designed to be flexible and interoperable, and our teams work together and with our customers to deliver value across a variety of products and solutions and ultimately drive your organization's mission and objectives. So let's end on the call to action. Reach out to us. Tell us if the pain points we've discussed here resonate with you, or if there are others or ones that are more pressing. Give us your feedback on our products and tell us where you want to see more innovation or new development. We're actively investing in transforming our products and transforming our strategy, and we want you to be a part of what we do here.